Hello, and today we're going to be covering our news feature. Our news feature is great for keeping users up to date on the latest industry or business news. Google News and Twitter posts will be aggregated into a feed based upon your keywords you provide, giving you a custom ticker to highlight the topics important to you or your customers, or you can actually set up your own custom news items, which I actually think is a really great benefit in regards to our entire platform, because this is another way that you can get quick notifications to customers without having to use push notifications, which is really great. The news feature is great for these following industries: for community, education, politics, and I'm going to throw my hat out there and say that it's really good for just about every other industry, because I think the news not only gives a place for people to kind of aggregate to themselves in terms of finding out where the information is, but you can put specials in here and big highlights, and there's some really great ways that this news content can be displayed. And we'll go over that in a second. In regards to setting this feature up, I've obviously already added it to my application, and in this case, we're going to look at El Camino Country Club. So I've added my news, and I'm going to call it updates, because for this particular feature setup, I'm going to do a custom build, not so much of a social news build, which I'll break down in a second. But I've created my name and I've added my feature icon. Now, in terms of the news service, we have two options, as I said before. We have social news, which will show Google and Twitter feeds. We don't have Facebook anymore. This was discontinued as of February 2015. But both Google and Twitter are both still available. The keywords work off of Google News. And for Twitter, you can use hashtags, keywords, whatever you may want. You also have the ability to display a home screen ticker. So what this is it's a little feed that runs along either the bottom of your screen or right up above your home screen icons, depending on how you've set your app up. And it displays the actual news that's in there. So let's take a quick look and let's set up social news. I'm just going to say, let's use El Camino Country Club and then golf as my Google News keywords. And then for Twitter, maybe it's El Camino Country Club, and I want to use my hashtag because that's what our marketing team does. And this is a really great way to get more intertwined with what your client's doing from a marketing aspect as well, and that's really cool. And maybe I want to do hashtag golf, hashtag Masters. Maybe you're a big Tiger Woods fan and you like to follow him, and I'm going to put hashtag Tiger Woods. So now when I save, I'm going to open up my little app preview here on the right. Notice how I did not turn on display home screen ticker, but let's do that now. And you guys will see the difference between the two. So I'm going to pull this little previewer out, and it's automatically going to pull up all the news. So you can tell right now that these are all the news that I have for El Camino Country Club and golf. Obviously, you want to make sure that you kind of dig in on those keywords that really make sense. And then I can also go and check out all the Twitter news that's coming in to the actual platform as well, which it's probably because those hashtags are pretty good. So there's a lot of really great stuff in here. So now I'm going to go back to the home screen. I'm going to press my little back arrow here and give it a second. And you'll notice here at the bottom, that's my scrolling home screen ticker, which I think is really great. Again, this is a fantastic way to let people know what is going on. Now, knowing that we just set up social news, I'm not a big fan of that one. So let's go to custom. I want to control the content that I have for my particular golf course. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a headline, which I think is so cool. So the headline name is going to be free game of golf. And the description is going to be free game of golf when you play with a partner. Okay, I can choose to add a headline icon, which for this I'm just going to use maybe one of the stock ones that I have in here already. I'm going to use this one of the golf clubs. I think that's great. And then I can either, when they click the URL, I can have it either go to the update feature, I can have it go to the reservations feature, which I think would be great, or I can insert my own hyperlink URL. I'm going to add, I'm going to save, and then maybe I want to do a new headline that says weather update, and this could be due to rain, storms, today's course availability is all full. We will not be taking any more reservations. And then I'm going to, maybe what I would want to do is I would want to pull potentially like maybe like a hazard icon or the little red exclamation point to pop in there for my browser icon. Again, for those headline icons, 200 pixels by 200 pixels is the size. I'm maybe going to do this one to highlight that. And I'm going to send them to our updates section because that's what I want them to see. And I'm going to hit save. So now you'll see I've entered in my own headlines. I can completely customize the messages that I'm putting across to these customers. And I'm also going to display it on the home screen. And you'll see here, this is our updates feature. And if I open these up, I'm going to be able to see every update that I post as well as the icons and whether or not they link to the features, which is real great. And you'll notice here, this is my home screen icon. I see free game of golf. This is great. I'm going to click it. And it will actually take me to the reservations feature. It won't on the right because the reservation feature is not yet optimized for PWAs. But if I hit weather update, it'll should take me to the updates feature. And that's what it does. So again, this news feature is a very valuable resource to any of your applications, whether or not you're doing conferences, whether or not you're doing schools. I would honestly use updates for schools and conferences like nobody's business because I think it is, again, fantastic ways to notify people about what's going on without having to use push notifications. It's another way to get your message across. Thanks so much for listening today and good luck building out your news feature.